My name is David Carroll, and up until a few weeks ago, I truly believed I was living the dream. My wife, Emily, was everything I ever hoped for. Stunning, vivacious, the kind of woman whose laughter could light up a dim room and make strangers feel at ease. Our home felt like a sanctuary, filled with warmth, shared memories, and the quiet assurance that we had built something solid. Our love story, or so I thought, was unshakable, but it began unraveling slowly, insidiously, like hairline cracks in a glass that only become visible when the light hits just right. It was the little things at first. The whispered phone calls she brushed off as work emergencies, the increasingly frequent late nights spent out with friends, and the unfamiliar scent of cologne that clung to her like smoke. It wasn't mine. I told myself not to overthink it. Emily had always been a social butterfly, endlessly radiant and surrounded by people who adored her. That was just who she was. But the nagging discomfort wouldn't go away. It burrowed deep until I couldn't ignore it any longer. One quiet Saturday afternoon, Emily left her laptop open while she stepped into the shower. I knew the password. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for several seconds, my heart pounding with the weight of the choice before me. I'm not proud of what I did next, but something inside me, call it instinct or self-preservation, compelled me to look. And there it was, a single email thread that cracked my world open. Messages between Emily and a man named Steve, intimate in tone and blatant in their planning, chronicling their secret weekend getaway. With every sentence I read, my chest grew tighter, as if someone was squeezing the breath from my lungs. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I did what she hadn't. I prepared. I gathered evidence, made sure I wasn't just spiraling into paranoia. I hired a private investigator who quickly confirmed what my gut already knew. Pictures, receipts, timestamps. It was all there. Emily wasn't just having an affair. She was living a double life. With another man. The initial flood of rage that washed over me was primal and consuming. But I knew better than to let it control me. Rage is reckless. Revenge, if done right, is cold and calculating. So I planned, not for confrontation, but for consequence. If she was to tear down the life we had built, I would ensure she felt every single splinter crumble beneath her. My first move was strategic. I contacted the best divorce attorney in the city. He listened as I laid out the details, nodding with that mix of professional calm and quiet understanding. When I handed him the folder filled with proof, his eyebrows lifted slightly. That was all I needed to know. I had a strong case. We drafted the paperwork. The trap was set. Now, I waited for the right moment to spring it. Emily loved hosting parties. Lavish, candlelit affairs filled with good wine and curated playlists. So I suggested we throw a dinner party the following weekend. She lit up at the idea, none the wiser. I smiled and played the loving husband while hiding the growing storm inside me. Every time she touched my shoulder or laughed in that way that used to make me feel like the luckiest man in the world, it only reminded me how foreign she'd become. The night of the party arrived. Our house buzzed with chatter and music. Wine flowed freely. Friends filled every room. And Emily? She was in her element, radiant, poised, charming as ever. Steve was there too, introduced as her colleague. I watched them exchange quick glances across the table. They thought they were being subtle. I gritted my teeth and waited. Once dessert was cleared and the last bottle of wine was opened, I rose from my seat and gently tapped my glass. The room quieted instantly. All eyes turned to me. "Thank you all for coming tonight." I began, voice steady. "Emily and I have something we'd like to share." Her head snapped toward me, eyes narrowing slightly with confusion. This wasn't part of the evening's plan, and she knew it. "Emily," I said, smiling tightly. "Come join me, would you?" She walked up slowly, her smile fading, still clutching her wine glass like a shield. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a crisp envelope, handed it to her. "Go ahead," I said quietly. "Open it." She frowned, fingers trembling as she slipped the papers from the envelope. Her eyes scanned the contents, and then she froze. The color drained from her face. "David," her voice cracked. "What is this?" "It's a divorce agreement," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. A wave of gasps rippled through the room. Emily stepped back, staggered. Her hand flew to her mouth as she nearly dropped the papers. And before you ask, yes, I know about you and Steve. The name hit the air like a bullet. Steve, seated near the end of the table, turned as pale as a ghost. He didn't even try to deny it. But that's not all, I continued. I turned back to our guests, my voice resolute. While Emily was sneaking around behind my back, I was making sure I protected myself. I gestured to the man seated silently in the corner. My lawyer stood, a solemn expression on his face, and began handing out packets to our stunned guests, copies of emails, photographs, receipts. Proof, cold, hard truth in glossy print. The murmurs turned to outrage. Shocked whispers gave way to judgmental stares. Her closest friends, people she thought would offend her, turned away in disgust. Some got up and left. "David, please," she choked, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Can we talk about this privately?" "Privately?" I repeated, laughing bitterly. "You didn't care about privacy when you were humiliating me. Why should I give you that dignity now?" Steve tried to quietly slip out of the room, but I wasn't finished. "Oh, and Steve," I called out. He froze in his tracks. "Your wife's lawyer has been contacted. She'll be reaching out. Expect divorce papers of your own." The room was now a maelstrom of shame, betrayal, pity, and disbelief. Emily collapsed into a chair, sobbing uncontrollably. Steve didn't say a word, just vanished out the door. I stood tall, strangely calm. For the first time in weeks, I was no longer powerless. I had taken back control. The aftermath was as messy as you'd expect. Emily tried calling me dozens of times. Long, rambling voicemails filled with apologies and desperate promises. I never replied. My attorney handled everything. The divorce was swift, clean, and devastating for her. I kept the house, a solid chunk of our finances, and most importantly, my dignity. Emily lost more than just a husband. Her friends distanced themselves. Her reputation shattered. Steve's wife followed through with her own divorce and dragged his name through the mud. His career crumbled under the weight of his exposed infidelity. And the two of them, Emily and Steve, tried to patch things up for a while. But a relationship born in betrayal rarely survives the fire it causes. It didn't take long for the guilt, the shame, and the social fallout to crush whatever fantasy they had built. It's been a year since that night. I've focused on myself, on healing, rebuilding, rediscovering who I am outside of that marriage. I threw myself into work, rekindled friendships I had let drift. I've even started dating again. Slowly, cautiously. I don't trust easily anymore, but I'm learning. Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Emily made her choices. She burned the bridge, not me, but I refuse to drown in the ashes. This experience taught me something no one ever prepares you for: the importance of self-respect and the quiet, dignified power of taking your life back. And for that, I'm thankful.